really connected there. So I introduce to you Mayor Pestonji.
Thanks, David. Really happy to be here, and thanks for the privilege of allowing me to present my work. Before I start with the poems, I think I wanted to give a little introduction to myself. And that is, I don't believe my education began or ended in school or university. It began when I became a journalist. And as a journalist, it exposed me to the two extremes of society. I could be interviewing a celebrity and or a street child in the same week. So there was that whole wide vision that was opened up by the profession for me. And I value that. I think that has fed into a lot of what I do later on. So basically, I followed two streams. One was the creative stream. I was a book reviewer, theater critic. I interviewed filmmakers, artists, writers, all that. And the other stream was activist, where I was involved with feminist issues. I was involved with on campaigns for street kids, anti-communalism, all that. So my poems have also fallen into two streams. The reason for this introduction is to tell you that my poems have fallen into these two streams. There is a part of some of the poems are kind of lyrical and dealing with nature, and some of them are activist. So this is kind of giving you a background of where they come from. So the first poem I'm going to read is kind of activist. It's called World Citizens. Poets of the world, we must unite against all walls that seek to divide into race, religion, tribe, or nation. Earth made us humans, nature's creation. When powerful rulers seek to expand beyond their borders into another's land, we sigh in relief it's not nearby. But on our screens, we hear people cry. Images of horror enter our homes, bombs falling, tanks firing, smoke engulfing, people in grief. Shame that we can't bring relief. Let's unite to fight all mongers of war with peaceful resistance to unholy laws that deprive citizens of freedom and the right to choose their future, defying oppressors' might. My second poem is called Death in Numbers. It was written during the COVID period, but I think it's relevant in many other situations as well. Death in numbers. Numbers numb, blinding us to faces, bodies, humans. 1,000 deaths, shock without pain. A single death is mourned when it's a known person. Each number among thousands has a face, a family devastated by death. Every death creates mourners who won't forget why. Their grief will bounce out of graves as ghosts deadlier than the virus to crush men who only think numbers. Now we move into a totally different vein. This poem is, of course, based on nature. It's taken two very different images and looked at the unity between them. It's called Flower and Mountain. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but the same sun warms both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but the same wind whips both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, the same earth molds both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, the same shower soaks both. A flower is distinct from a mountain, but both beautify earth. These are from the first book of poems I've published. And then there are the next couple of poems are new poems after the book came out last year. Doors. Doors, coeless entry and exit, inside and outside, safety and danger, comfort and adventure. Do they lead? Do they protect? Do they confine? They do all. And the next one is also a new poem. It's called Be Still. Be still as the rock over which rivers flow. Be still as the mountain over which storms blow. Bend with the breeze like trees swaying without moving. Remain rooted on solid earth. Get nourished to grow. Now, again, a couple of activist poems. Just a minute. Page 24. We had a terrible incident, well, not an incident, a horror, during the communal riots of 92-93, when a woman was gang raped by 11 men while she was pregnant, in her 5th month of pregnancy. Her 5-year-old daughter was killed in front of her. Her husband was also killed. These 11 men were, of course, jailed, but they were prematurely released from jail. And when they were released, their release was celebrated with garlands and sweets, which I think was the lowest point to which we could sink. So this poem is called Lament of a Marigold When Rapist Murderers Are Garlanded. Now, the marigold is a very special flower in India. It is used to decorate weddings. It is used during pujas. It is used in very many celebratory ways. So, and it is used for making garlands. From the day I was born, I was considered auspicious. Petal after petal, open to the sun, drinking its warmth, growing from bud to flower, awaiting festive fun. Would I end in a pious puja, adorn a bridal bed, a Diwali decoration, a garland around her head? Puja offering felt best, dancing with chanting devotees, praying to various deities. Or being crushed on a bridal bed would not be bad. Or Diwali decor, competing with diyas and glittering lights. All dreams dashed. I got woven into a garland for goons with rancid, odious sweat overpowering my scent. The same sweat that mingled with that of the women they raped. The same sweat that dripped with the blood of the murdered child. Dirty sweat stains me, chokes me. How can I rebel? The next one is also activist, and it's to do with, it's from the mass shootings in America. It's called A Student's Voice. He shot my friend in the middle of maths class. Teacher shouted, heads on the desk. I crawled down, tugging at my friend's leg. It was still warm. Her face turned away from me, blood dripping inches away from me, then on my leg. I swallowed the scream in my throat. Silence pierced by a guttural sob. Shh, from traumatized teacher. Our long minutes passed. Pythagoras stared from the board. The square on the hypotenuse of a right-angled triangle is equal to nonsense. Equality is a myth when someone has a gun. Shaky hand tugged friend's leg again. It was cold as she slipped from desk to bench to floor. Her face a sea of blood at my feet. I screamed. Silence shattered in cacophony, sobs and wails as heads emerged from desks, all -3. Dazed eyes gazed at our friends. Wounded or dead, only adults can tell. But every one of us 22 in our class is scarred by the sights we've seen, the fears we feel that will never heal. No maths for me. I need a gun to feel free. And now we move into a lighter vein again. I've written quite a few poems on trees, and I have selected a couple of them here. The first is called Ode to a Christmas Tree. It wasn't a wet or windy day when the Christmas tree gave up the struggle of breathing through thick asphalt. A long, loud whoosh, and three-story tree lay resting on a roof, neither denting nor cracking glass. Car owner rushed, clicking evidence for insurance. No injury to man or wall or car. Gentle tree had no enmity with Black Beauty. Dear tree, eons ago, children decorated you with baubles, streamers, gifts galore. They, whose childhood you shared, don't even know you're dead. Within an hour, the fire brigade arrived, chopping limbs, hacking trunk, piling the still bleeding resting place of sparrows into the garbage van. The lads haggled and squabbled, segregating leaf limb from good wood. Only enraged sparrows shit-spattered on glass. The next one is for a coconut tree. This was written during lockdown. Of course, we couldn't go out, so usually every evening I would walk on the rooftop of our building, and quite a few poems were written there. This is one of those. Coconuts without water. Lockdown evenings, I walk on the rooftop, to be greeted by coconut tree arms waving at me. Trees that soared from sea to sky with silhouettes commanding the beach have all been dwarfed by the city skyline, imposing steel on the street. Arrow-straight trunks, uncluttered with branches, shot out of earth, those stuck in concrete trenches. Roots dug deep into grainy sand as malls and apartments gobbled up the land. Nestled into folds, gracious green curved, huddle baby coconuts, shyly hiding in mother's skirt. Theirs is a generation stunted from birth, without water to fill their girth. Brown and shriveled, they sit in the sun, sucking dry nibbles till they become one with coarse fiber to be spun into mats to wipe feet on. Coconuts without water, eggs without yolks, lifeless. I walk with head bent, contemplatively, aware of coconut eyes staring at me. I'm from the race that's become a disgrace, siphoning Earth's water, blind to their mournful gaze. The next one is called specks. A speck of a speck of a speck is all we are in a galaxy peopled by planets multiple times Earth size. From Burj Khalifa, roads become ribbons, cars dots, people invisible. Night flights reduce cities into twinkling dots and dashes. Google Maps make Earth a child's toy, zooming from apple orchard in Kulu to cherry blossom in Japan to Sydney skyline, Frisco Bay and back within minutes. Computer voice guides to destinations near and far by foot, bicycle, or car, avoiding traffic snarls, arriving on time, while Branson and Bezos race to round the Earth first, making Earth a rich boy's toy. But despite intelligence and innovation, we are still a speck of a speck of a speck in the smallest galaxy of galaxies. And that's what we will always be. Now, I'm going to end with a few, what David calls micro poems. I have been writing these kind of very brief 2 and 3 line poems. How much time do I have, David?
Plenty. I'm surprised that you said you were finishing.
Okay.
Feel free to add another. Can't wait.
Okay. So these are 2 and 3 and 4 line poems, 2, 3, 4 line poems. They're all very short images written at different times. So the first lot are antitheses where one thing is going against another. A squirrel's home is a hole in my roof. Release a feather from its prickly perch and watch it reach for the sky. Each night enables light to be born again day after day after day. Trees give shade while reaching skyward. The sun can only be seen through filter of cloud or leaf. A sandalwood stick leaks light, heat, fragrance while burning itself out. Excess meets scarcity when flood water enters hut. Party decorations become litter once the party is over. Grass that bowed beneath your feet springs back to life as you pass. The climb up the mountain ends when you descend to the base of another ascent. Cloud and mountain meet for a moment, then cloud moves on. Dew diamonds disappear in the morning light to return to earth as rain. When a lovely rainbow fades, empty space hits the eyeballs as blue. Salt remains when seawater flies to the sun. A caterpillar struggles to split its skin, wriggles to crawl out, reaches beauty, and then it flies. Now, this is a poem called Other Worlds. It's not part of the microfilms. It's a little longer. From the ocean of ideas, one escaped feather light floating free to flame a brain and send it charging to a new destiny. Hot floats, dives in ahead, swims around, drifts away. If it's worth holding, trap it on paper. Words trapped on paper ignite minds, fuse ideas into plans for action. And now the last one, it's called Truth. You were born alone, you will die alone. Every step of the way you must walk alone. Raise your eye to the sky alone. Some nights you'll see a star. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor.